The typical life path that society presents to you: 50 to 60 grand a year, 28 days holiday, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for the next 30 or 40 years of your life. You know that ain't for you. Now, when I was young, I can remember I just had this, like, call it intuition, call it consciousness or a voice in your head. But even from being very young, I'd go around like shops with my mum, supermarkets, clothes shops, shoe shops, and I'd see middle-aged people working in there, and I can remember thinking, that ain't gonna be me. That's not a personal attack. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those jobs in and of themselves, right? But for me and my path, no chance. That's not a life of freedom. That's not a life of fulfillment. And I always knew that. And you've always known that as well. Not everyone has that perspective. You think differently. You think bigger than other people. The people who just settle. The people who give up all their hopes and dreams and just take what the default kind of mode is for life, which is lack of fulfillment, lack of resource, lack of time freedom, lack of financial freedom. No purpose, right? Turning up to work and lining somebody else's fucking pocket and building their dream and building their empire while your life is on halt or freeze. And even though you've got this perspective, you're still fearful and you're still doubting whether you can actually do it. And I know that's true because you've clicked on this video. When you put yourself in the shoes of the version of you that's achieved everything that you ever want, it feels fucking mint. And you've done this so many times, you've rehearsed it over and over again in your mind. You almost know what it feels like. You know, even to the point where, like, when you're driving and a certain song comes on and it makes you feel a certain way and you can just get this very crystal clear image in your head, you feel very fucking optimistic. But when you come back into the present moment instead of living in the future, in your mind, that's when the anxiety and the fear and the doubt creep in. Because there is another outcome. You failing. Settling for an average life that you know you don't want. And that haunts you. You don't think about that outcome, but it involuntarily comes up. And there's a reason why. Feelings and emotions seem irrational, they seem illogical. It kind of seems like you should disregard them at times, but you shouldn't. It's a sign. There's a reason you feel any emotion. And if you can trace it back to the root source and identify why, then you can do something about it. The anxiety and the doubt and fear that you have over the future stems from the now. It stems from the present moment. Naturally, goals become more ambitious, but it has to be matched by ruthless progression and pursuit of improvement internally. What happens for a lot of people is their external goals are progressing at a much faster rate than they're internally progressing. And the divide or the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, that's moving quicker than this is able to catch up, right? So it becomes increasingly more unrealistic, sparking more fear, sparking more doubt. And there's a trap and an illusion that you find yourself in right now where you think you're doing enough because compared to your peers, compared to even family at times, or the people you surround yourself with, you're the outlier. They're thinking small. They're settling whether they realize it or not. You're thinking bigger. You have this vision. You know you're built for more than the average shit and you don't want that. But you're surrounded by people who haven't figured this out. So you compare yourself to them and you think you're miles ahead. But that's not really true. You're a little bit ahead of them. The difference between them and you is like you have a bit of structure, you have some discipline, you're hitting the gym, you maybe look after nutrition a little bit, maybe you consume a bit of self-improvement. If these guys are operating at level 1, you're only really operating at level 2, but your vision is level 10. Well, there's an obvious misalignment there. See, you're thinking big, but you're acting small, because you're around people who are also acting small, but for those guys, they're technically in alignment because they're also thinking small. They're not thinking the way you're thinking. They probably look at you and think you're a really disciplined person and you're really on it and wow, I wish I had that get up and go. But again, this is just feeding and stroking your ego because that's only good enough to get you to where you are now. Otherwise, you would have already surpassed where you are now. To go to the next level externally, you have to go to the next level internally. And this is what James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. There is no correlation between how big your goal is and the likelihood of it happening. The only thing that takes you there is an intentional action. So yes, you want a fucking huge vision and you want to get really clear on what it is you want, but that alone, thought alone, isn't enough. It has to be matched with intentional action. What we've got to do is connect your vision to the present moment. You can't just continually live in the future. We have to obsess over the process now and refine it and make sure that it's intentionally crafted to take you to the destination. Imagine walking up a mountain. In England, we haven't really got mountains. Not compared to like other countries. They're more just like if an American came over, they'd just think that's a fucking hill. It's not a mountain, but for us, they're mountains, right? But let's say you go to Snowdon with the boys. The whole reason of you going is to go and walk to the top, to get to the summit. But you don't keep your eyes fixed on the summit as you walk up. You look down, you look at the path. There's steps, there's puddles, there's rocks, there's a fucking cliff edge. This is what you need to navigate, and you keep your eyes fixed on this, and all of your focus and attention goes on this because you know it's eventually going to lead to the peak. But you don't even need to look at the peak. You just obsess over this, knowing that it's going to take you there. Your daily process has to be intentionally designed to take you from A to B in the fastest way possible. A whole lifetime is literally just a load of days stacked together back to back to back. I can't stress the importance of mastering your daily process because that ultimately determines your life. And when your daily process is subpar, which it is right now, relative to where you want to go, not compared to the average person, but the vision you've got in your mind isn't going to cut it, that's where your anxiety and fear and doubt is stemming from. Any emotion attached to anxiety is a negative prediction of the future, but it stems from the now, and that's not a baseless assumption. Your subconscious just takes in everything that it can, and it looks at how you're currently operating and all of the evidence that it has from the present moment, but also what you've been doing leading up to this to make that assumption. You wouldn't be anxious if you were living like a fucking monk. And I'm not saying you need to do that, but I'm stressing or emphasizing the point. If there was no distractions other than work and the process, and you were just ticking the boxes and you didn't waste a single fucking minute of your day, I guarantee you would eliminate all fear and doubt, and you would be confident as fuck that you would succeed regardless of how big the goal is or how far off it seems, because you're leaving nothing on the table right now where it matters. If you're not in the best shape of your fucking life, if you're not taking in new information on a daily basis, if you're not following some form of habit protocol, if you're not sticking to a routine, if you're not getting rid of bad habits and replacing them with good ones, if you're not doing any kind of inner work, you're telling your subconscious mind that you're not worthy of achieving it. Most people are gonna they won't click on this video because they're not even aware, but most people normal people that would listen to this video would think this is just so over the top, this is ridiculous, you're taking this way too seriously. Me and you both know that's what's required, and you can't let the belief system of someone that doesn't want what you want infiltrate your mind, because these are the people that tell you to just have a day off and just chill. Mate, you're chasing purpose, you're chasing fulfillment and a better fucking life. And I want you to get it. I want you to self-actualize. I want you to fulfill your potential and live a life of fucking meaning and financial freedom and time freedom and get whatever the fuck you want out of your short time on earth. But in order to do that, you have to push the boundaries. You have to do shit that is difficult. You have to hold yourself to a standard where most people in society, including family and friends, are going to look at you and go, mate, this is over the top. This is way too disciplined. You need to chill out a little bit. It's all noise. You got to surround yourself with people who are thinking the same as you or bigger, because they ain't doing that. You know, they're reinforcing the way that you're living, and actually they're fucking demanding even more from you. None of this is external, right? The goal is external. The material things, where you're going to live, the type of money you're earning, the freedom you have. It's like what you want the external reality to be like. But all of this stems from internal, which is good, because you only really control what's in you. You only control your mind and your body and your thoughts. That's it, really. You can't control something 100% in the world. You can try, but the only thing that you truly have power over is yourself. And when the problem is in yourself, that means you can solve it. So you look at this whole thing as an opportunity that you can nail this. It's pretty fucking simple. But if you've got any shot of turning that dream to reality, you have to bulletproof your daily process. You have to compound momentum every single day. And you need to get to the point where you're not growing in a linear fashion, you're growing exponentially. That's the key, exponential growth. And that comes from momentum. You got to do it for a long enough period of time to the point where you're now making more progress in a week than you were making in like 6 months. In your day-to-day life, over the last week, let's say, total up how much time have you devoted to personally progressing. Not building someone else's dream, not going to work, not even working on your business, even though I know for us business owners, it is kind of like tied personally to us, right? But forget that, forget work, forget career, forget profession. How much time have you devoted to personal progression? Probably not that much. Without that, your life isn't going to move forward. You're going to end up living the same year over and over again with a slight tweak and a slight difference and a slight bit of progression for the next 30 years. And you're going to get to middle age, old age, and you're going to think, or you're going to be one of those guys even that was like, yeah, back in my day, once upon a time, I could have done this, could have done that. You can't end up in that position. That for me is like the scariest thing ever. Now I know I'm not going to end up there, right? But this is what's driven me to the point that I'm at now. This fear and this specific situation, or just imagining myself being in that spot where it's like, I've missed the boat now. I'm old. You know, my body doesn't work the same way it does. My mind doesn't work the same way it does. I've got so much commitment, so much responsibility. Now I can't go for it. I've got fucking goosebumps thinking about this shit. The gap right now, thinking at level 10, acting at level 2. Do you think that version of you, the 10x version, do you think he has an average physique? Or do you think he's jacked out of his fucking mind? Do you think he turns up to the gym and wings it? Or do you think he's got a bulletproof plan and process that he just follows and it just runs like clockwork? Do you think he wakes up and he guesses with his nutrition and he gets a Subway for lunch and he just turns up to the supermarket and eats some bullshit processed fucking packet food? Or do you think he hits his macros with precision, high quality whole foods every single day, removing brain fog, obviously creating the change for the physique development as well, but fueling himself like an asset because he knows he's an asset? Do you think he doom scrolls for even 2 minutes in a day? Do you think he watches Netflix every single night? Or do you think he's doing inner work? Do you think he's reading self-improvement? Do you think he's reflecting? Do you think he's saying, no screens past 7 o'clock, I'm gonna wind down now, I'm gonna decompress, I'm going to spend time with my missus, my girlfriend, some quality time, disconnect, get a good night's sleep, and I'm going to go at it tomorrow again? I could go on and on and on. This is something that you have to do. You have to think about all the things that you're doing right now. What is that version of me that I want to be? What's he doing differently? The only thing standing in your way is how you're currently operating. That is it. That's the only gap. Fitness is the vehicle. It packages the identity, the standards, the discipline, the daily process of that version of you that you need to be. That's why we're using fitness as the tool. I say it all the time, guys. Fitness is not the goal, it's the tool. You can set goals within fitness, but in a wider or from a wider perspective in life, fitness isn't the goal, it's the tool, it's the vehicle. It forces you to operate like him long before you actually are him, which is the only way to become him. You've got to adopt every single fucking micro behavior that version of you does and do it now. Now, when it comes to the actual daily process, a habit system has to be part of it for 2 reasons. The first is the value that the habits actually give you, okay? I actually have 7 habits that I follow religiously and I give to my clients, and I've got a WhatsApp link in the description, and you can message me saying habits and I'm going to send you the full 7, and I'll give you an explanation, because if I just mention them on this video, you're not going to understand what they are. So I can't just dive into it in a brief format. If you want them, message me, but let me tell you what they do. I gain clarity, I remove brain fog, I acquire new knowledge, and I create momentum. That's what my habits are doing. But more importantly than that, it's the automation process. Habits are automatic. Now, people think of the word automation in the day and time that we live in now and think good. And normally it is. In a business sense, it normally means saving time, saving money, or things just being quicker. Automation is generally good. Automation within you can be good or bad. And habits, being automatic, must be intentionally designed in order for them to be good. When someone's got a bad habit and they tell you about it, they're aware of it, but they still do it even though they know it's a detriment to their life. Why is that? Because it's automatic. So the automation can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. You need to intentionally select your habits to support personal growth. And when you do this and you have good automatic habits, you're automating the process of personal development. It's a fucking cheat code. This is why I never shut the fuck up about habits. And people don't get it. I talk to people and it's just like, yeah, they don't really, you can just tell from what, it's not what they're saying, it's how they're saying it. They just don't put enough importance or weight on it. I don't even think about my habits now. I wake up, I do my morning process, the first 60 to 90 minutes of the day, and 4 of my 7 habits are done. The full 7 habits, I'm personally progressing every single day. I'm doing 4 of them in the first 60 minutes. That's before I've trained, that's before I've done all my work that I need to do in the day. Automatic, I don't think about it, it's done. You know, this is how you make quantum leaps in life. This is how you fucking succeed, guys. I still want to stress how important fitness actually is. When you train with intensity, when you hit your macros, when you fuel your body with high quality whole food sources, and you practice discipline day in, day out, you're not just building a physique, you're cementing an identity. You're building the internal wiring of a high performance man. This, what you can see here, is the vehicle carrying you through life. Your focus, your energy, your confidence, resilience, emotional control, impulse control, frequency, all stems from the state of this. You cannot operate at level 10 with level 2 health and level 2 energy. It's impossible. That is what misalignment is. The level 10 version of you is in the shape of his fucking life. You get jacked, you get lean, you get vascular, you get defined, you get the abs popping, you get fit, you get healthy, you feel like a heightened version of you. And when you feel like a heightened version of you, you act in alignment with it. When you act in alignment with something, you become it. So this is all interwoven into the wider kind of topic that we're talking about here, right? Fitness in the gym and the physique development isn't just a separate thing we're doing on the side. This is one holistic system, 360 degrees, body, mind, and consciousness. Fitness is your anchor, guys. It cements the new identity. Because if you think about it, what's a more obvious form of change than physical change? Seeing the man in the mirror changing, seeing your physique changing. There is no more visceral evidence that you're on top of your shit and you're controlling your life and you're not being a consumer anymore. You're creating. You're intentionally directing your life where you fucking want it to go because you're in control of this. This is level 1, right? The body is the foundation. It's not everything, but it's the foundation. You can't have the rest without prioritizing this and optimizing this. It's the system that's keeping you accountable to the version of you that you have to be to get the thing that you want. Right now, you're acting at level 2 and you're thinking at level 10. The only way to get to level 10 is to embody all of the characteristics and attributes that that version of you is, right? And do it now. The vehicle from here to here is fitness because it builds self-respect, it forces discipline, it builds momentum, it removes brain fog, it raises your frequency, it improves your confidence. All of those things that version of you is doing and this version of you hasn't yet mastered. Fitness is the thing, right? It's going to take you there. It's impossible to stay stuck when your body's progressing because you're evolving and you can't just fix the body, right? That is the whole point of my message. You have to work on the mind as well. But if you're doing even just like the bare minimum on the mind side and you're addressing the body, you are progressing so much fucking quicker than 99% of people on earth. Fitness builds the identity drives the habits automate the behavior creates the future. Bob Proctor said it best, you don't decide your future, you decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. Fitness is the answer, guys. Not because of aesthetics, but because it engineers you into the version that you have to be to get the thing that you want. Everything in your life is your responsibility. Everything you have right now or don't have is your fault. Everything you will have or won't have in the future is your fault. No matter what way you look at it, it all comes back to you. The fear and doubt you have right now surrounding your vision can be completely eliminated permanently by addressing your daily process. Never reduce your ambition in the light of negative emotion. Always raise your standards. You use that emotion as fuel to go, right, I need to step up to the next fucking level. If I want my external reality to change, I have to match that with ruthless internal change, and I have to do that now. I have to act with urgency. That is the only way to do it. I'm going to leave you on a quote from Seneca. It's not that we have such a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Stop fucking wasting it. Road to 1 million subs, guys. This is a legit journey, by the way. I've got 122 fucking subscribers right now. So we've got 999,878 to go. And I'm going to try and do this every video now because it is going to fucking happen. And if you're one of the lucky ones who's seen this call out at 122 subscribers, I will be expecting your YouTube comment when I hit 1 million subs saying, I remember that video where you first started saying this, road to 1 million subscribers. Let's go.